Sairam students, welcome to another class of English literature. Today's class is a continuation of our last class wherein we had begun with a new poem, We Wear the Mask, written by Paul Dunbar. Before I begin with the literary devices used in this poem, I will give you a short recap of what we did in our last class. The poet speaks of the entire black community when he uses the word we. He says that we wear the mask that grins and lies. Okay, and the same mask, it's covering their cheeks and it shades their eyes. Their heart is completely broken, but still they are smiling. Their heart is bleeding, but still they have put up a smile. If you remember, I spoke to you about the cruelness on the part of the Americans. How they tricked Africans to America. And then these Africans were sold to the plantation owner. So that is when the slavery began and these blacks had to suffer. I also mentioned that this is not, it's not mentioned in the poem, but yes, it relates to it. Then the poet also adds that, why will the world around be overwise in understanding the pain and the sufferings of the blacks? And why will they be even bothered? He says that let the world think that we are happy and they will continue to wear the mask. Then in the last stanza, he says that, they are crying out to Christ, and they say that these cries are from the depth of the tortured souls. They are walking on a path which is very, very long. Okay, and the mud beneath it is unpleasant. And then he also adds towards the end that let the world feel that we are happy and we will continue to wear our mask. So that's it with the poem. Let's quickly begin with the literary devices used in this poem. All of you just go and get your book and a pen wherein you will jot down the rhyme scheme, the figures of speech and reference to the context. So let's get started, students, with the literary devices used in this poem. So what's the rhyme scheme? What do you understand by rhyme scheme? Basically, rhyme scheme is given, which adds beauty to the poem. It gives a rhythm to the poem. So what's a rhyme scheme? This poem follows the rhyme scheme of AA, BBA, AA, BB, BC, AA, BB, AC. Now let me just explain this to you. Look at the first stanza. How do we identify the rhyme scheme? Basically, the sound of the last word. Okay? Now, the first one is lies. Sound of S, lies. Okay? So, we'll denote A. Eyes. Again, sound of S. Then we have guile. Sound of B. Smile. Sound of L. L. And then we have subtleties. Again, sound of S. So, that makes it AA, BB, A. I hope, students, the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is clear to all of you. Let's proceed further. This is our second stanza. Again, let's check out the rhyme scheme. Over wise, size, a, while, a different sound, b, and mask is again altogether a different sound. So that makes it a, b, c. Proceeding further to the third stanza, look at the last words. Cries, rise, that makes it a, while and mile, that makes it b, otherwise, it sounds similar to cries and arise, so we'll denote a. And mask is altogether a different sound, so we'll give it as C. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, A and C. Clear? So the rhyme scheme, I hope it's clear to all of you. Proceeding further to the figures of speech used in this poem. Now students, I will be introducing few figures of speech, few new figures of speech which you have not learnt earlier. To begin with, we have the very first one. We have paradox. What is paradox? It's the juxtaposition of set of seemingly contradictory concepts that reveal the hidden or unexpected truths. Dunbar has not stated that the poem is about African American. However, the subject of the poem, Mask, reveals his feeling about pains of slavery. Okay, so it's like I told you in the beginning also, that nowhere he has mentioned about about the African Americans. It's not mentioned what exactly has happened. But what is the main subject of the poem? It's the mask, and it reveals the feelings about the pains of slavery. So it's a contradictory concept, and it reveals the hidden or the unexpected truths. Clear? Then we have the next figure of speech, that is metaphor. Now the poet has used extended metaphor of mask to illustrate the false persona that people put on to hide their real feelings and true emotions from other people. So what does the mask do? Here the poet has used the mask, okay, to illustrate the false personality that people have. Behind the mask, the person is suffering. But when you look at the person is all smiling. So the person is hiding his or her feelings. Okay, so you cannot understand the true emotions of the person. So the poet has used over here the extended metaphor of mask. Then we have personification. Now what's a personification, students? It is giving human characteristics to lifeless objects or even animals. Now Dunbar has used personification at several places. For example, when I say, let the world dream. Can the world dream? It's human beings who dream, correct? So the human characteristics of dreaming is given to the world. So that makes it personification. And then we also have the next line. We wear the mask that grins and lies. So can a mask grin and lie? No. Human beings, they smile. Human beings at times tell lies. A mask cannot grin and lie. So these two lines are personification. Then students, we have a new figures of speech which is very, very easy, and that is consonants. Now pay attention. Consonants. What is consonants? Basically, it is the repetition of consonant sounds. We all know we have vowels and consonants. Correct? What are vowels? A, E, I, O, U. And other than that, all the other alphabets we have consonant sounds. Consonants, okay? So, what is consonants? Basically, consonants is repetition of consonant sounds such as the sound of R. Now, pay attention in this particular line. Okay? Look at this line. We smile, but O great Christ our cries. Okay? The sound of R over here in great. The sound of R in Christ. The sound of R in this word. R. Again, in Christ, the sound of R. If you see, this sound is not coming at the beginning of the word. What is alliteration, students? Alliteration, the starting sound. She sells seashells on the seashore. The sound of S is repeated, and this S is at the beginning of the word. Every word S is at the beginning. But in this line, if you see carefully, the sound of R is coming somewhere in the middle or towards the end. Okay? So when the sound of the consonants is repeated, it is called as consonants. I hope, students, this figures of speech is very, very clear to all of you. Then we have the next one. Pay attention. Why should the world be over wise? The sound of W. Can you all see carefully the sound of W? To begin with, we have over here the sound of W over here, Y. Then world, over wise. Okay? So when the sound of the consonants repeat, it is called as consonants. Clear? Moving ahead to the next figures of speech, we have apostrophe. Now, what's an apostrophe? Apostrophe is used to directly address an absent person. Okay? So, now here Dunbar has used apostrophe in the opening lines of the third stanza. Look at this line. O great Christ. So when he is talking to Jesus Christ, is Jesus right in front of him? No. So he is addressing a person who is absent, who is not with him, but he is not next to him, but he is talking to that person. Am I clear? So this figure of speech is apostrophe. To thee from tortured souls. Who is to thee? To you. To you is Jesus Christ. These cries are coming to you. From where? From the tortured souls. So again he is addressing Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is not next to him. Okay, he is not around. But still he is talking to Jesus Christ. So when you directly address a person who is not with you, okay, who is not next to you, that particular figure of speech is apostrophe. Then we have a new figure of speech for you all, that is imagery. In the poison tree, I had taught you imagery. What's imagery? It's creating images using your sensory organs. Let me just read out for you. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things through 5 senses. It enables them to create a mental picture of the object described. So when I say tone and bleeding hearts, you can create images in your mind. Okay, we smile. You can create an image of a person smiling beneath our feet. The moment I say this, you could create an image in your mind. Okay, so that figure of speech is imagery. Proceeding further, we have alliteration. If you remember I discussed with you what is alliteration. Okay, in alliteration, look at these lines carefully, these 3 lines. Okay, line number 1 is we wear, wherein the sound over here is repeated. We wear. Okay, then why should the world be over wise? Again, the sound of why, world. Okay, and mouth with myriad subtleties, sound of M is repeated. And if you see, it's at the beginning of the sentence, of the word, sorry, why, world, mouth, myriad. Okay, so this alliteration, don't get confused between alliteration and consonants. Alliteration, the sound is at the beginning of the word, okay, which is repeated. In consonants, it comes anywhere in the word, either at the beginning or in the middle or towards the end. The next figure of speech that I have for you all is hyperbole. What's a hyperbole? Now, what is myriad? Hyperbole, basically is an exaggerated statement. It's an overstatement. Okay? Myriad. What is myriad? Myriad refers to a number that is so large that it is not countable. So what is myriad subtleties over here? It's a hyperbole that exaggerates the degree to which the mask wearers must conceal their feelings. Okay, they are saying the number is too high. Okay, it is uncountable. So that's the reason myriad subtleties is hyperbole. It's an exaggerated statement. Clear, students? So with this, students, we are done with the literary devices used in the poem. I have told you what's the rhyme scheme, and I've also discussed the figures of speech. Quickly just go through the value points of the poem. If you wish to, students, you can jot them down as well. Okay, reference to the context. Let me take these 2 lines for you. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. So, whom does we refer to? We refer to all the people. It is poet's brothers that he is talking about, his family, his community that he is talking about. In this poem, it refers to all the blacks who faced racism. That's your answer. What kind of lies do we tell? Here the poet means all kinds of lies. We keep a disguise of looking nice, but we are full of lies. Okay, so the poet says that, what we are actually feeling, nobody ever understands. Okay, because we are not allowing them, to understand. We are always putting up a fake smile. Okay, and we tell them that we are fine. Okay, we are telling them lies. But within, how are we feeling? That we don't discuss with them. So what kind of lies? It's all kinds of lies. To whom do we tell lies? We tell lies to ourselves and our fellows. What does shades our eyes mean? Shades our eyes means that wearing mask camouflages the truth in our eyes. Okay, so shades our eyes. What does it mean? It means that the mask camouflages the truth in our eyes. Am I clear, students? So that's it with this poem. Okay, we are done with the explanation part. We are also done with the literary devices, and we are done with the reference to the context with the value points as well. So that's it, students, with this poem. We'll catch up very soon in our next class. Until we meet, students, you will take care of yourself.